It is early morning on the open plains of North America. Here in the early Cretaceous period, a lone armored herbivore, Sauropelta, is grazing on the low-lying ferns. He is a nodosaurid. Much like his ankylosaur cousins, he has heavy armor that covers most of his body and sharp spines for defense. Unlike ankylosaurs, however, he does not have a tail club, but he is still one of the most dangerous herbivores around, so much so that he feels completely comfortable alone, though his kind often stir together in small herds and even mingle with other herbivore species, like Tenotosaurus, for mutual protection. The sight of a lone Sauropelta was quite common, however. Whether this was because they stubbornly ignored the dangers of the world, or they were just too thick-headed to notice that they were alone, however, was a mystery. As the male grazed with the sun still low in the sky, his keen nose was picking up hints that the morning was about to get more interesting. The faint scent of a predator, no, multiple predators, was closing in. Before he could see them, his ears clued him in more on his attackers. They were quick, but small, running swiftly through the undergrowth towards him, most likely Deinonychus. The Sauropelta did not run. His body wasn't built for it. He didn't even turn to face the predators. Instead, he dropped onto his stomach and tucked his legs in, protecting his vulnerable underside, and then waited for the Deinonychus to arrive. Not long after, the dinosaurs in question circled the lone nodosaur. There were 3 of them, each around 3 meters long and covered in feathers, evenly spaced out and poised for attack. This was not the first time that the Sauropelta had dealt with these sorts of predators, and it would certainly not be the last. Their cautious approach was telling. Perhaps these Deinonychus had never attacked the Sauropelta before. Perhaps they were desperate for food, or maybe they were just bored. It didn't matter to the large male Sauropelta. As soon as they got close enough, he lifted his long tail and began to blindly swing it from side to side. Although he had no club, the speed that he swung his tail and the thick armor that covered it was easily capable of breaking the delicate bones of the dinosaurs, and the wide arc of his swing easily covered 180 degrees. Now the smaller carnivores made for a frontal assault. Not that that was much better. The 3 formed up side by side and slowly stepped towards the herbivore's head. The Sauropelta just kept swinging his tail, playing his waiting game. The lead Deinonychus lunged forward and bit at the stubborn animal's head. It was a testing bite to see how strong the Sauropelta's defense was. If he had committed his full strength, his teeth would have shattered. Despite this, Sauropelta didn't flinch. He knew the carnivores couldn't dent his armor, and couldn't flip him over to get at his underside. All he had to do was swing his tail till they left. Another Deinonychus tried to go for his front leg, but couldn't get past his large shoulder spines, and seeing this, the 3rd pack member didn't even try. She was the first one to realize that this was a waste of time. She barked at the other 2 and they reluctantly ceased their attacks. Even as they stepped away, the Sauropelta kept swinging his tail, never ceasing his defense. The small pack looked the herbivore up and down one last time, and then swiftly darted away. Enough time had been wasted here. The unharmed herbivore heard them scurry away, and after a quick check with his eyes, ears and nose, got off the ground and went right back to eating as if nothing had happened. Adult Sauropelta had very little to fear. What they lacked in speed and brain power, they woefully overcompensated with raw defense. Even the mighty Acrocanthosaurus thought twice about attacking these armored tanks. And so this male, like the rest of his species, carried on rather calmly, only concerned about what to eat next. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the show. Today we will be going over one of the tanks of the Cretaceous, Sauropelta. Sauropelta was a medium-sized nodosaurid dinosaur from the early Cretaceous period, and is the earliest known species of its genus. It lived around 108 million years ago in North America, with fossils being discovered in Wyoming and Montana. Quite a large number of specimens have been found, making it one of the most well-understood nodosaurs. The size of Sauropelta is often debated, with low estimates being from 5.2 meters long and weighing 1.5 tons Too high estimates putting it at 7.6 meters and weighing 2 tons, half of its length being just its tail. Like other nodosaurs, Sauropelta's body was covered in large armor called osteoderms, and it would have provided excellent defense. These ran in rows down its back to the end of its tail. More impressive are the spines on its neck and shoulders. These would have made it near impossible for any predator to attack the animal's neck, which is usually a weak spot. Unlike their cousins the ankylosaurs, nodosaurs do not have tail clubs, as seen with Sauropelta. Sauropelta lived in an environment that was warm year-round, on the seasonal floodplains, and was likely a selective browser rather than a grazer. Certainly was an intimidating sight for any predator, and perhaps for other herbivores as well. It shared its home with species such as Aquiliops, Teninotosaurus, Sauroposeidon, Microvenida, Deinonychus, and Acrocanthosaurus, as well as 3 species of mammals and 2 species of turtle. Sauropelta is one of the most impressive of what I call the truly armoured herbivores, possessing tough armour, vicious shoulder and neck spines, and a long armoured tail that shortly ruined the days of many predators. Now, I have a confession to make. For a few years now, I haven't liked this particular species, for one simple reason. Its representation in the video game Jurassic World Evolution. Now, bear with me. In this game, you can clone Sauropelta like many other species, but you can only put a maximum of 2 of them together, and only have 2 other dinosaurs in the same enclosure, meaning that you can't have any more than 4 dinosaurs of a Sauropelta, otherwise they will get angry and try to escape. In a game where you can have massive enclosures with multiple species together in large numbers, there is almost no reason to have a Sauropelta. It's just a waste of time and space. Because of this, I never really appreciated the real animal, never gave it the time of day, until I made this video, and realized how ridiculous I was being. The reason I bring this up is because sometimes I see or hear people basing their perception of an extinct creature purely on what they've seen in science fiction or out of a dated documentary. One example would be velociraptors from the Jurassic Park series. Real velociraptors look nothing like their movie counterparts. They were about the size of turkeys, had feathers, and there is no evidence that they hunted in packs. Or take the fact that every time I correct someone that Tyrannosaurus rex wasn't the largest predatory dinosaur ever, I am first met with disbelief, and then in some cases outright denial despite the facts. So, what is my point? Well, paleontology, like many sciences, is a constantly changing thing. New discoveries are made, old theories questioned, new equipment is made, so on and so forth. Heck, everything I've said in this video could be deemed incorrect the day after I publish it. Whenever you delve into science, it is important to keep an open mind and not get bogged down with what you were told before, even if it's something as trivial as dinosaurs look cooler with or without feathers, or this dinosaur in this game doesn't work like I want it to. So with that little rant out of the way, this has been Sauropelta, an excellent example of how far an animal can adapt itself to become unbreakable, while also belonging to one of my favourite family of reptiles. But what do you think of Sauropelta? Do you think when you're trying to ensure the survival of your species, you should go all out on one aspect such as defense, speed or stealth, like how Sauropelta has done? Or is it better to remain more versatile while having no traits outweigh the other? When it comes to evolution, no answer may be correct. Let me know what lesser known dinosaur you'd like me to cover in a future episode. Until then, stay armoured and stay safe.